When will it end, Robbie?
It just doesn't end.
No.
And then, yeah, God. All right. Fuck. Anyway, speaking of fucking frustrations and fucking annoyances,
Yes.
Jada and Will Smith.
No, fact. No, just Jada Smith. I love Will. I'll stand for him.
Okay, so I think we talked about this last week.
Yeah, I think we touched on it briefly. I mean, I'm cool to go over it again though, because I mean, just yeah. What are your thoughts on how Will's perceived in this?
Again, we don't know these fucking. They're famous. Who knows what their agenda is? But
Yeah.
For some reason, I think that he's a halfway decent person, and that she's just completely. And you can see it even in these bits that we're talking about, these segments. I just don't. Like she's dramatizing.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the hell I saw the other day, but Morgan and I looked at each other like, wow.
Yeah, it's just like airing dirty laundry sort of thing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And she's making like a reality TV show out of her family's issues or whatever, or not even her family's issues, just her relationship between her and Will.
Right. And I love. This is where the deep dive is. I love the idea of transparency. I love that. I love not putting on this, this fictitious
facade
love that they have.
Yeah.
But also, I feel like there could be her, like literally could have been like sabotaging the situation just to make a story.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, like to sort of like push a narrative kind of thing.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with that. I mean, we have no information. I'm just chatting off of like pure like emotional connection to the character or the persona that Will has been in the movies that I've liked him in. Do you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And also to add to that, he's not really like been outspoken about a lot of the stuff. And in fact, I think even during the book tour, he declared like his undevoted love for her, like in front of all these people, even after all this stuff has come out.
Right.
Knowing that they've been separated for years, blah blah blah. So yeah, I don't know. A lot of the stuff that's getting publicly put out there by Jada compared to what's being put out by Will Smith and about Will Smith kind of puts her, in my eyes, more of a negative light, just in the sense of like, kind of seems like she's emasculating him by some of the stuff he's
100%. 100%. Dude, that's exactly how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And that's why even when we're talking, like, I hope that this is a clip that we can pull and put on social media. If there's people watching this, I do want to see, like, in the comments, if you fucking throw something in there, put, like, Team Jada or Team... Because when I see... Again, even for us to entertain this for 5 minutes or so, I just don't give a fuck. But it would be interesting if I could take... Like, if there was a toll that you could take on a general population that actually cares about the situation, and if they do, whose side are they on? Yeah. Because the media definitely makes it seem like, Jada is this, like, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for, but she's definitely put on a pedestal in a way. Yeah,
it's interesting because her stuff is like obviously she's getting a lot of media time and screening for the book tour and blah blah blah, and she gets the shows and stuff like that. But then I don't know. I feel like if it was the other way around and Will's coming out and saying some of the stuff that Jada's been saying about their relationship or just airing it, people would maybe be a bit confused, be like, well, why are you even talking about this, or why are you saying some of that sort of stuff? That could just be a bit of like, men bias or whatever like that. But I don't know. It's just not nice to see. I mean, someone like who I admire in Will Smith, just like in the acting he does and the kind of the persona that he gives off, to see him kind of go through this publicly is a bit weird.
It's wild, right?
Yeah. I get you sign up for that being a celebrity, but there's levels which you were touching on earlier. I thought there's you don't want to like fill up a fake persona, but it doesn't need to be an entire glass house. You know what I'm saying?
100%. And it's like, I don't know. It's just sad. But anyways, is there a segue to another one? Again, we could go on that one for a while, but
I mean, it is sad, and so is the fact that there's potentially a 50% chance that World War III. I mean, was it Ray Dalio, who's like a hedge fund billionaire? I think he had an interview where he started speaking about 50% chance of World War III risen from 35% in the past 2 years, which is obviously deeply concerning. But
no, it's wild because essentially we've got two larger wars happening. And it's interesting. So let's dig into the Israel stuff. So I shouldn't say stuff. Israel war. What's going on in Israel?
Yeah. It's been a few weeks now. Well, not a few weeks. It's been about a week or so since the conflict began.
And I am still not one to be trusted with foreign affairs. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But from what I see, it's pretty wild. So like having the Gaza Strip the way it's set up, and then the Hamas has come in attacking them, and then for Israel to say, all of our people that are in this general area, you need to leave.
Yeah.
Because Hamas is essentially trying to camouflage into the culture and then do surprise attacks or whatever it may be.
Right.
So they essentially said, leave this area, and if you don't, there was going to be missiles. There's going to be
we can't help it. We can't help if you get corn across fire, sort of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And from what I saw, aside from that missile that hit the hospital, I actually thought that was Israel, but they're saying it wasn't.
Yeah, I actually had a little bit on that. It's the Al Ali Baptist Hospital. So that was like about 500 or more people blown up in the Gaza. But yeah, it turns out, I think after a bit of investigation, that I think is actually a misfire from the Palestine side. So meaning Hamas, I think they've misfired potentially.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still yet to come out, I think, explicitly what happened. But from what I saw on X, that was kind of the general...
Yeah, and to feed off of that, that's what I saw as well. And I saw that... because at first, when it was first reported, Israel, it looked like they were attacking, and I was like, "Damn, they're going around."
Yeah.
But they said there wasn't, and then, like you said, I saw some stuff. Maybe it was on X or I saw it online somewhere, but they were comparing the missile that landed in next to the hospital.
Yeah,
the damage that it created from a GPS standpoint versus what an Israel missile would have done. It would have left like a literal crater in the ground.
Right.
So it who knows, but it quantifies. Like it makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously like just a bit of a gray area because no one actually really knows. But I mean, it makes sense from like the information that's being put out there. But
right,
who knows? I mean, yeah, it's just. Yeah, I mean, like you said, there's two fronts going on. You've got two hot wars. You've got Ukraine and Russia, and then you've got Israel and Hamas, Palestine. So,
yeah,
which obviously have allies that are kind of linked you with Lebanon, Iran, Russia. It's all intertwined. So, I mean, you kind of just sitting at the edge of your seats waiting for something to happen. So,
yeah. It's interesting too hearing other presidents, like ex-presidents, George Bush, for example. I saw a clip of him. Mm-hmm. It's just interesting on different leadership and what could be right and what could be wrong. I think we've said it before. In my personal opinion, the Republican side, for the most part, is a little bit more aggressive when it comes to, law and order or just, kind of
foreign policy and shit like that. Yeah,
their vision. I would imagine their vision is strong. Anyways, he went on record and was like, "Yeah, this can't happen.
No,
like these are terrorists. There is no, hey, let's come to a common agreement, or is there any humanitarian way to fix it?" His answer was essentially like, you have to destroy evil. And I was like, wow. Well, he's like, these guys are terrorists. They're not to be messed with.
Right.
They're coming here to do harm. You have to fight back. There is no leniency here.
Yeah. I mean, it's not to confuse, like, it's not the Palestinian people necessarily. It's like Hamas. It's just like, that is a terrorist organization.
Yeah.
By definition. So I mean, you can't really stand for it. I mean, obviously, you feel bad for everyone that's involved, who's feeling the effects of this. But then at the same time, people are demonizing Israel for wanting to retaliate. But I mean, what does anyone do when something like that happens? I mean, they're going to try and get their own back, just how it is, and it's how it's been between them for almost 4,000 years nearly. Do you know what I mean? There's the same conflict that's just gone on for ages. So
and I'll feed off what you said there, which is like, it is sad, and it's there's no right answer.
No.
But unfortunately it's happening, and that's the thing. If people can't get along, there does have to be a North Star, some sort of like leadership that goes
just puts the foot down, sort of thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you got other stuff happening on even on our side of.
Oh yeah,
you got people
talk about that.
Yeah, you got like obviously the borders right now, and it major issue, and you've got a lot of like.
I thought you were gonna dig into like we're having some like
with the capital. Is that what you're talking about?
No, like apparently, from my understanding, there's been some like anybody that's Jewish here. There's been some Jewish aside from what we've had in the past, but there's been some other like crimes, just people being attacked,
hate crimes,
just hate crimes.
Yeah.
Escalated because of apparently escalated.
Well, yeah, I mean, there was that Friday where that was called from some like the guy in Iran or whatever calling for like a jihadism, like just actual like just full out just calling, just saying like this day Friday you need to do.
Wow.
Friday the 13th it was, yeah.
No way, really?
Yeah. So it's just a bit mental. I mean, you've got people in the Capitol who stormed the Capitol.
Yeah.
We've seen that before.
Yeah, that was insane.
And they're occupying it inside and out, saying ceasefire, free Palestine, blah, blah, blah. I wonder, and I want to hear your thought and opinion on this, what do you think happened to those people compared to the people that in January 6th?
Wait, rephrase the question for me.
So there's people right now, or there were people in the Capitol,
right.
US Capitol, who stormed inside the Capitol and peacefully protested along with saying free Palestine, ceasefire, blah, blah, blah. What do you think what happened to those people as opposed to the people what happened to the people in January 6th who got sentenced to like 10 years of solitary confinement?
Yeah, I don't know enough about the most recent one to even answer that question. Yeah. But were people hurt?
There are people like detained and stuff like that. I don't know if there's any violence or anything like that, but I mean... Okay,
because I think why that other one was so escalated, obviously that was an internal conflict here. Yeah. But I think unfortunately a couple of guards passed, I believe. I think...
Yeah, I mean, I don't know too much about it. I think there was like a little bit of like misconception with some of the stuff and some of the data or findings that happened from that time, which is all a bit like murky, which is weird why it's murky.
I was gonna go there, but we always seem to go to our
tinfoil. Yeah.
You know what we're gonna do? We're actually have to get some and just put them here.
Yeah.
And then when we do it, we just put our tinfoil hats on.
Yeah,
that would be funny.
That would be funny. Just so you know, whenever we're talking, 100%. It's just complete out of our asshole. Yeah.
100%. But no, I'm with you there. But I wish to. I know you threw a question my way. I can't answer definitively because I don't know enough about this one, and then I would have to compare why people would be tried or given a harder consequence.
Yeah.
Being that if somebody died, didn't die, like I don't know how serious it
I feel like the vibe around this one is obviously a lot different because it's for a different cause. So that changes things. But I think essentially the act that's happened is almost identical. So
Did it's just inside the Capitol?
Yeah.
No, so, they got inside the Capitol.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's just interesting to see what will happen to those people, if anything. Not saying anything should.
See, I don't know anything about this.
Really? I'll have to show you the video after the pod. But or even on our break or whatever. But
yeah, I'd love
just because it is actually just really just interesting. I was like, this is actually wild. I was like, there's actually people in the Capitol. Just again.
So. And that's not. It's just not really.
Right, but whereas January 6th was televised everywhere as like a...
Right.
So that's... I don't agree with either or don't agree with either, but if you're going to lay down the law about something, I would like it to be consistent. That's all I'm saying.
100%.
Not saying that I agree with the decisions and the laws that have, implemented or enforced in that time.
Right.
But if you're going to do it...
No, I'm with you.
So...
I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on the presidents earlier and the sort of their opinions on the war. Did you see that video of Joe Biden on Air Force One?
I didn't.
Oh my god! If you want to talk about presidents and like their stand-ins on conflicts, and they've come out and spoken, forcefully, they've spoken clearly, they've enunciated their words, they've had a point. Like you said, Bush was like, you need to stop terror, hate, or whatever it was.
Right.
There was just a 3-minute clip of Joe Biden not knowing where he is, not saying bloody anything. And it's just like, it's on Air Force One, on CNN. CNN? CNN.
Yeah.
And it's just like, what is, like, what is this? What is optically? What does this look like for our country? Just in the midst of all this, I mean, apparently he's flying over to there, but in the midst of all of this, you've got a president who can't even string together a sentence, or when he's talking. Imagine if I was imagine you asked me a question. I'm talking to you like this. Yeah, well, you see,
isn't that incredible? Isn't that incredible? You know no, you're 100% right. And where it did it for me, he was on like a 60 minutes interview, right? And they asked him, "How is your mental health?" Have you seen that clip?
I think I heard about it. I haven't seen it.
How is your mental health? And this guy probably slept all day, maybe the day before. I guess what I'm getting at is, the team around him was like, okay, we need him to be sharp
on his game
for 60 minutes.
Yeah.
And they ask him, how's your mental health? How is your mental capability? It's in question. And he just goes on this rant. How's my mental health? Hasn't been better than it ever has been. It's been better than a fly. It's been a fly in the sky. And it's just like, bro, what are you talking about? But again, God, I wish the best for, this isn't a hate on Joe Biden.
No, I feel bad for him.
This is the president of the United States. The leader of the free world.
Yeah.
And that's why people think that it's a left or right thing. No, this is the guy that we're all supposed to look towards.
He's a representation.
100%.
Yeah.
And he literally, he can't even put together a sentence.
No.
It's just like,
I mean, he's the most powerful person in, like, technically the world or whatever, but just in the United States, right? Like, he's the figurehead, right? So, and he obviously, the president should embody the country that is the president of, right? Yeah. So you're saying that, like, the best representation of our country right now is a guy who sleeps for 16 hours a day and can't string together two sentences.
And that is exactly what it's about. It's not that I hate the guy.
No, I feel bad. I do feel bad.
He's our president, and he's probably, he may not have the best record, but he has done a lot of public service.
Yeah,
he has tried to dedicate his life.
Yeah.
If his intentions are right, which we don't really know, but if his intent is exactly what he says it is, I take my hat off for this man.
Yeah.
But the fact of the matter is, we cannot have that as like, that is our strength. That is what people look at. That's what other countries look at.
Yeah.
And I can't say that I know, and even if there's hardcore Democrats watching this video, I know deep down they're going, wow.
Yeah, this guy.
We don't have Obama up there. We don't have anybody that's well spoken, articulate. He's just like,
no. It's not good for. It's not good for either party. It's just not. It's not. It has nothing to do with party. It's just not good for the American perception. 100%, so 100%. I guess the last thing I really want to touch on is kind of like a cheers.
Well, let's cheers, because we'll jump back into that one just because I know we're running up on it. But
fuck yeah.
Cheers.
Even after the technical difficulties, we still made it through it though.
Sorry about that. I hope that clipped together decent. Jeez.
It could be kind of funny, to be fair.
Oh my god. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it's just gonna be shit audio. Me going fucking shit. Well, even when you whispered in the mic though, it wouldn't have recorded it.
Oh my god.
Joke's on you, man.
Fuck. I could have had a good one there.
All right.
Take a break.
Oh, we'll be back.
Definitely way more of a peaceful protest as opposed to the, quote unquote insurrection that January 6th was. Right. Whereas insurrection is what you're saying is like more of like a targeted thing, or like, there's a bit of an inside job sort of. I mean, there's a lot of grey area around it, but yeah, I just saw that and I was like, it's interesting. It's interesting. I don't not like it. I just saw it. I was like, wow.
Okay.
I've seen that before.
So if I were going to just to give our take, because we just chatted about it a little bit before we're back on here, but Harry has shown me what's going on at the Capitol. So I don't know, but just from watching these clips, it looks like, yeah, you have security. Nobody's trying to force these guys out of here. No. I think they're trying to give them a peaceful way to,
be heard, get their message out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That looks very different than what happened in January in regards to the storm of the Capitol.
Yeah. So it's a protest with the pro-Palestine Israelites, and as opposed to an insurrection for January 6th. And yeah, I see the difference, but at the same time, I'm just kind of like, I just saw it this morning. I was like, that's interesting.
It is wild, though.
So I mean, they're not wrong though. Ceasefire is definitely the way forward. So
yeah, no doubt.
Who knows if that's going to happen?
Have you seen anything with the speaker? The McCarthy guy was out.
The guy who shuts down every now and then.
No.
Oh no! You're talking about the
Speaker of the House.
Right,
they got him
out.
They got him pushed out.
Yeah,
I don't know how that happened, but
he did a thing where I think he was so desperate to become Speaker of the House that he kind of made an agreement that in order to become with the Speaker of the House, in order to be voted out, he only had to have like a really low amount of votes to get him out of there.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of came up to review, and then they just got him out because he just didn't have like a. Basically, if they wanted to vote him out, they could at any point, and they did. So
that's wild, though.
Yeah.
Right? It's like how, because it seemed like he was doing a decent job. I mean, he was definitely more. He was like seemed like he was on the right, obviously on the right side of things. And I mean, when I say right, I mean the Republican side of things. Mm-hmm. And I just was amazed because he just got into office. Then we almost have a shutdown. Mm-hmm. Then we postpone that a couple months. Then I'm pretty sure this is timeline. And then he gets pushed out. So now it's like the Israel thing has started. There's no Speaker of the House, and we're potentially going to have a shutdown again.
Yeah.
Without it's just I just can't believe that this is our government right now. I just can't. It just sound real.
It's a shambles, and it's like the thing. I think we touched on it last podcast. It's interesting that we're so quick to look elsewhere to help or to get involved as opposed to sorting out our own stuff and making sure that we're in a better position in order to go out and help others or whatever. I mean, like, we can't even get the Speaker of the House sorted. Like,
yeah, it's
bizarre. We can't, sort our borders out. We can't help Maui, but we're gonna make sure that Ukraine gets 100 million or how many, whatever.
Dude, I think we're in the billions, dude. I don't.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying.
Yeah. But so, I mean, did you see that one lady who came out and was I forgot her name, so I feel bad, but I don't actually. Because I didn't really look at the clip other than the fact that she said apparently America can easily afford 2 wars, maybe more.
Wow, who? I don't know who that.
No, I don't know. I don't know who it was, but it was in an interview on like MSNBC or CNN, one of the news things, and they were just like, "Yeah, we can easily afford 2 wars." I was like, "Okay, good." So if we do want to get involved, even more so than we already are, apparently it's just good to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know. I wish I could even just kind of out of words for that one. People really think like that. People think that, we can afford it, and yet, like you said, there's so many issues that are happening here.
Yeah,
and now it's just like, but I mean, even in these Ukrainian, like the Ukraine war, Russia, like we, as America, we complain. So it's kind of like a double-edged thing for me. Mm-hmm. Because I'm the first to say, like, why are we giving so much money? But at the same time, if we sent troops or although that costs money, I guess the point I'm getting at is that we're funding Ukraine. We're essentially sending that money so that our people don't have to go. You know what I'm saying? We're almost like we're helping a situation monetarily, so we just kind of stay out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like giving money, though, kind of gets you more involved in it. I think the reason why we do give money is because it's like a war economy that America sort of runs off of. So I think being involved in these kind of war dealings is what makes us money, what makes our economy tick over.
For sure.
I think, I get what you're saying. Actually sending the people over there, you're sending money and arms and all that, but it has to come from somewhere, and in turn I think it comes out of like our reserves and our funding. So
for sure,
you kind of like, you can get to a point maybe where you could over leverage yourself or deplete your resources to a point that kind of put your own security at risk or your own abilities at war at risk because you're depleting ammunition, blah, 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 missiles or whatever it is. But then again, I don't know how long it takes to remake all the stuff or, make the money back or however.
No, I'm with you. There's definitely... That's the thing. It's interesting how, like, everything works in itself because... I think we talked about this before, but I'm pretty sure even like when the Great Depression, I think it was a world war or something, got us America out of the Depression.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting to see how much of that is actually like an economic stability. But, anyways, aside from that, was there any other? I've already forgotten some of the other topics you had on there.
In terms of topics wise, it's pretty much it. I think a pretty cool one though that's coming up is it's a massive segue. But have you heard of the football player Jude Bellingham?
Mm-mm.
So he's an English player, plays in central midfield or centre attacking mid. He's 20 years old. Now, he's kind of been like a hot prospect for years, kind of coming up through the ranks. And really, just this past summer, he made his move to Real Madrid. Are you familiar with him?
Yep.
Okay, so he's hit the ground running. He's been I think their best signing, or like he's had the best start that any of Real Madrid's signings ever had.
Mm.
So what's happened is, I think in about 13 games for club and country, he's had 9 man of the match awards, which means he's the best player on the pitch, without a doubt. He's got 11 goals and 5 assists. That's 13. That's 16 goal contributions in 13 games. He's on fire, 20 years old. And he's playing in midfield, which isn't even like typically like your goal scoring.
What's his name again?
Jude Bellingham.
Okay.
Absolute class, mate. And you might be familiar with like Mbappe and Haaland and players like that.
Yeah.
He's currently outscoring them as
Holy
a midfielder.
Shit.
So, and Haaland bagged 36 goals.
Where did you say? What team?
Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he bagged 36 goals Erling Haaland last year, and Jude Bellingham is currently beating him as a midfielder. So,
and bear with me because I'm learning. I'm getting my soccer knowledge. Real Madrid is Spain.
Yes, yeah, they're in Spain. The 2 main teams, 3 main teams. You got Real Madrid, Barcelona, and Atletico Madrid.
Okay.
So
10-4. Damn. So this kid's 20 years old out here.
He's an icon already. I'm gonna say it. I've said it before this pod to my brothers, but I'm gonna say it on the pod just to have video evidence of this.
On record. All right.
I think he could potentially be the best English player that we've ever had, ever.
Damn.
Yeah, the guy's a phenom.
He started with Real Madrid. Is that where he started his career?
No, so he actually started at Birmingham City, I believe.
Okay.
And then he transferred to Borussia Dortmund out in the German league, Bundesliga, and he just made his move to Real Madrid. So
decent.
20 years old.
That's wild, dude.
Yeah, he's already doing his
Good
bits. Yeah, no. It's great to see as well, especially because obviously with the Euros coming up and the World Cup eventually in 2026, we need to go to some games. When that comes around to America, that would be amazing.
100%.
Because there's like Miami has got some games, and then obviously Mexico, blah blah blah. Atlanta I think has some, but I'd love to go to some of those. But back to my point, he's in the English team, he's an England team, and he will be for a while. So if this guy can carry us to finally win a World Cup after 50, 60 years.
Yeah.
That'd be the best thing ever.
That's decent. No, it's interesting as you're saying that. Morgan and I, we just finished. Have you seen the Beckham documentary on Netflix?
I started it and I want to finish it, but I've heard it's really good.
Okay. Well, I'm not. It's not like I can ruin anything for you because you're invested in soccer. You know what had laid out.
Oh, I did my hair like him when I was like 7 years old.
Okay, so you know his whole. See, we don't know much about him.
No.
We just know the Beckhams, right? Like we know he's one of the best soccer players. But we did find it very interesting. So he starts his career in England, playing for England, right?
Yeah.
And then when he does make his move to Real Madrid, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was interesting. Like we just getting the inside, and this is part of. I don't think hopefully I'm not ruining it for anybody.
No. I mean, it's all like well documented, but I mean, it's not ruining anything.
But what I'm getting at is like he does that, and then he comes to the U.S. and like we had no clue that he even played here.
Yeah,
isn't that wild? Like we knew he played here, but we didn't know it was that early on. That you're talking what, 2010?
Yeah, 2010, 11, 12, something around that. Yeah, because he played for LA Galaxy.
He played for LA Galaxy.
Yeah, and you know what's cool about his contract? So you know how he's the owner of Inter Miami now?
Right.
Right? So in his contract, when he came over to MLS, they gave him the same deal that Messi has, in terms that when he finishes his contract, he can buy or like start a franchise MLS team for like a really cheap price. And I mean the club's worth like easy like $1 billion something now.
Yeah, wild though. But it's just interesting hearing. It sounds like he made all of the right. You can't say right moves because everybody's trying to make their chess move, right?
Yeah.
But it sounds like he just kind of trusted his instinct. He's like, all right. Although the Real Madrid thing really wasn't in his hands.
No.
At least according to the documentary. That was up to the coach.
Right.
What was the coach? Do you know the coach's name?
At the time, was it Jose Mourinho?
I don't believe so. It's if you said the name, it'd ring a bell. But he's been the coach of what was the first team he was on before Real Madrid?
Manchester United?
Yeah, Manchester United. The coach, like legendary. He was coaching him. Apparently he brought Beckham on before he could even play, like in his teenage years.
Because I mean, obviously, the manager for Man United was Sir Alex Ferguson.
Yes,
but
is that what you just said?
No.
Okay,
Sir Alex Ferguson, he was the Man United manager, but he wasn't the Real Madrid manager.
No, he wasn't the real. Did I say? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to say Real Madrid.
Okay, yeah. So Alex Ferguson, I mean, he's probably one of the greatest Premier League managers of all time, and
But he let Beckham actually, he was told to leave. I don't know if you know what
I probably need to brush up on exactly like the details. You probably honestly, you're probably like a little bit more informed of the inside details than I am.
Just because I literally watched like the in-depth documentary. Right. But the reason I'm saying it's not to question your soccer knowledge. It was just fascinating to me watching that. I'm like, how do you let Beckham leave?
Yeah.
And they were saying that he was already like peaking. They were just kind of
there's
and then the Ferguson guy. And again, not to ruin it, and sorry to interrupt you, but. It looked like maybe it could be the way that the documentary was portrayed, but Mo and I couldn't help ourselves but go. The manager almost seemed like he didn't like how much attention that Beckham was getting because he was like a superstar, and he's dating like a hot chick off of
Posh Spice,
Spice Girls.
Victoria Beckham.
I mean, he's crushing it, and you can't help but think, this guy was just pissed that he watched his kid come in for 14 whatever and then just crush it.
Well, I mean, I think that is true because I think you got to understand at that time in terms of footballers there wasn't really anyone like David Beckham in terms of like celebrity status and fame and notoriety.
Right.
He was kind of like the first of that. I mean, I remember being at school. And like I used to do my hair like David Beckham, or like I'd want to copy him, and like you'd want to do. There's a term is like bend it like Beckham, like you know what I mean. Like it was all around him.
Yeah.
So imagine as a manager trying to be the best that you can be and trying to get your team to win all this sort of stuff, but then you've got this absolute superstar on your team, who is in the press 24/7.
Yeah.
And what that does to like a changing room, a dressing room, and do people get jealous of him? Do people sort of maybe not want to pass to him because they know that he's going to get their headlines as opposed to hit them, or do you know what I mean? Or people target him. So
100%.
For a manager, I think that's quite a lot to
100%
to deal with.
And his last name was
Ferguson. Sir Alex Ferguson.
So Alex Ferguson in the doc again. You're getting my perspective from this, but feeding off of that, there's like conflict that they're having, and then apparently they get heated argument in the locker room, and normally anything in the locker room stays in the locker room. I mean, that's just like code for any sport, right?
Yeah.
But I guess he like kicks a soccer or a boot or
and
something.
Hits him in the head.
Hits him in the head, and like I guess Beckham had to like put a Band-Aid or something. The paparazzi got it, and at that point, at least from my perspective of that whole journey.
Yeah.
When that happened and then it made him look bad.
Yeah.
it didn't matter. Nothing mattered aside from his own ego as a coach, because he's probably a legendary coach.
He is, yeah. He got knighted for like what he, yeah.
So he had a lot of ego that I would imagine come behind it, and then he's like, after that, if you know, not that his fault that he put a stitch or a Band-Aid on, but like if you make him look bad, there's no.
Yeah, I think it's so hard for like Alex Ferguson to deal with that though, because it's like, you know, the job he was doing for Man United, he was winning titles and after titles, and he was winning cups, and then to sort of, you know, have the fans, because obviously all the fans adored David Beckham, but then to have like the fans kind of turn on you because they think that you're like, you know, abusing Beckham or whatever. He's probably just like, I haven't watched a documentary, so I don't know exactly what happened, but he's probably just like, I just need to get this off my hands. Real Madrid want him.
Yeah.
Let's just like, he's done, you know, we love what you've done for the club. Let's just send you off. And that happens with like a lot of players. A lot of players do actually fall out with the manager. And at that point, when you fall out with the manager, it can ruin the team's performance overall, and it can just ruin the fan base, and it can. So it's kind of like a little infection. You kind of just gotta
100%
just get it out.
100%. I want to feed off of that too. Like, you got to watch the doc.
I do. I need to.
It does have, again, it's a documentary, so it's gonna have its own perspective. But in it does say that Beckham at one point, it was a final. God, I can't remember the team that they were playing. But he ends up getting a red card.
Yeah, was it in the England game?
I believe so.
Yeah, the entire country turned against him.
Hated him.
Yeah, you've never seen someone go from such
like they got like a dummy statue of him and like put a noose around his head and stuff in the streets. Yeah, I was like, holy shit. Yeah, but see, I again, this was so fascinating for me because I know nothing about this historical aspect. So now it's gotten me. Because I think that goes with any sport, right? You get historical aspect, and then that's why you subscribe to it even stronger. Yeah. So that's what's happening here. It's like we're watching now. We're like, oh, fuck. Now that we know, now we're starting to pay attention. Okay, we're getting invested in that. So that's why...
yeah, it's like the cultural sort of side of things. 100%. Yeah. I mean, he was on like this pedestal, and then he just like, everyone was just like, fuck you, like... You're dead to us. Like, if we see you, like, you know what I'm saying? And he's just gone from like super fame and super admiration to just like the lowest, blah blah blah. And then to be fair to him, I mean, he came back.
Yeah, that's the thing. It looked like, at least again, it's his doc, so they were giving. No, him support, but he kept showing up. He just gave a fuck.
He did,
and that's where I was like, dude, this guy's awesome.